What's all that about? The Beechwood report. They're reading the Beechwood report.
Not a half a minute.
Hardly. Remember that team of management consultants that came in to value the company?
Lots of spots, posh accents. They broke the toaster.
That's them. They've written a report about how the company's managed, and this is the first time the managers have seen it.
Oh, a sort of school report. I wonder what it's about. Mike doesn't seem to be too happy.
This bit about Lee's good. Halfway through this report, and it's the first bit I agree with.
Which paragraph?
Section 3, paragraph 17. Lee Shindo suffers from the delusion that he should be in hands-on control of every aspect of software development.
Where is Lee, anyway?
Oh, he told me there's a crisis with the AS400 project. Some bug that's come up in beta tests that they can't crack.
Jackie, find out what's happened to Lee. Tell him to get his backside in here if he knows what's good for him.
The sales department suffers from Mike Fox's autocratic style.
Where's that bit?
His autocratic style. Mike is a classic controller. He demonstrates a lack of trust for his staff. He's unwilling to let go. His team's growth is restricted by his narrow definition of their career development.
But the report also rates him as a good salesman.
Sure, it was never in doubt. I mean, his figures back that up. You see, that's just the point. He revels in the glory of winning the business. I get the feeling he doesn't like to share those successes with the rest of the team. I think as he moves more towards a management role, he's going to have to learn to let go.
Do you think he has leadership potential?
Potential, yeah. He knows his mind. He gets his views across very forcibly, but he can be a bit of a bully, and he's not very good at owning up to his own mistakes and shortcomings.
How do you mean?
Well, from what the team's observed, and from what the staff say about him, he's forever moving the goalposts, right? Yeah. He gets a result that he doesn't like or he doesn't expect. He simply changes the rules of the game.
It doesn't sound like your kind of guy. Are you sure you're being objective about him?
I just edited the report. The basic information comes from Beechwood. They're very experienced at management profiles.
Okay. Now, let's say the jury is still out on Mike Fox. What about Charles?
Charles, a bit of an abdicator. He just lets his people sink or swim. He interprets the rules to the last letter. He doesn't give the line supervisors much practical support. Quite a few go under and leave. Those that do survive have to learn the hard way, and as a result, many simple mistakes are repeated. I think he spent too much of his time doing what FE wanted him to do. Seems to have knocked any kind of flexibility or creativity out of him, you know.
He is an engineer by training.
Sure. Yeah, a very good one by all accounts. But as the company moved more towards software, his production engineering skills have become less appropriate.
Not a leader, then?
No. Good team player.
They quite liked Jenny Carroll.
Yeah, Jenny. Fortunately, she's her own worst enemy. Jenny, yeah, surprisingly low sense of self-worth. She takes on all the tasks that the other managers find tedious or beneath them. Yeah, she's an effective delegator. She encourages her team to take on new challenges. She tends to speak her mind, too. I find that encouraging.
Strikes me as being a little inexperienced.
How old were you when you ran your first division?
Santa Monica? I was 29.
She's 30. 7 years of management experience.
Do you think she could honestly run Redware?
Honestly? No. Not yet, anyway.
Then what about Lee Shindo?
I knew I should have written the module myself. This was bound to go wrong.
Lee, be fair. No one could have predicted this bug. Look, if you explain what needs to be done, I can put Ken and Matthew on it and we'll be back online. It can't be that critical. The system's integrity is still fine.
In the time it would take me to explain to you what needs to be done, I could do it myself. Besides, Ken and Matthew are up to their eyes doing other things. I know they can't spare the time.
Well, I can. And you're supposed to be at a management meeting.
I don't want to be at a management meeting. I want to be here sorting out your mess, all right?
Why?
Because I am the only one who can do it.
Ah, I'll tell Ken and Matthew that. That will really motivate them. Look, we know we screwed up, but this is just one module. The others are running beautifully.
Lee, the management meeting started half an hour ago.
I'm busy.
I know, but this is important. It's important for your sake. Believe me, you should be in there.
Lee, I'll handle this.
All right. Check out some of the comm server routines on Module 18. If they don't work, get onto Omniservers. They may have some similar experience from their trials.
I've already spoken to them. They're getting back with some data. Module 18? Okay? Trust me.
It's trusting you that got us into this mess in the first place. I'll check out your code later.
Your confidence is touching.
What a complete waste of money. What do those chinless wonders who wrote this garbage know about our business? They talk about his relationships and interpersonal skills. God, you'd think we were running a dating agency.
I had no idea they were preparing this kind of report. They told me they were into value the business. I thought they were accountants.
Most of them were. This was written by their management consultant arm.
Well, frankly, I feel a bit betrayed. I thought I got on with them rather well.
They were just doing their job.
No, it's just that FE neglected to mention the scope of their brief.
Well, according to the email, our new MD will be joining us at 11 o'clock.
Good, I'll have it out with him. Can't say I like his style much. Ah, the prodigal son. You've been missing all the fun.
Some of us have got work to do. What is this?
It's a management report from that team of consultants that were crawling all over us last month.
The idea was that we all read it at the same time so that no one gets it second-hand.
Fine, I'll read it in the bath.
Don't slit your wrists when you get to section 3, paragraph 17. Don't know what you're laughing at, Charles. Have you seen page 56?
So, you've got your report. Now, what's the game plan, John? Who are you going to promote?
None of them.
Really? Ah, new person. Okay, okay. If that's the way you feel.
Now, not that either. I'm going to take a closer look at each of them in practice. More than that, I'm going to put them on a management development program.
The one we used here?
That's right. 20 steps. Do you object?
No, it's a good course. Even I managed to finish it.
Well, it's stretching. They'll complain, about the extra workload, but it'll show us which of them has the potential to grow the company.
20 steps. That's going to take us, what, 5 months?
That's right. I promise that in 20 weeks, I'm going to deliver you a new MD and a management team that works.
Look, are you sure we shouldn't bring in someone from outside? I know just the guy. He did a fantastic job for us in Mexico and Vancouver.
I'm not the right man for the job. No. Redware needs someone's going to lead them for the next 5 years at least. They're positioned in one of the fastest growing markets in the world. They don't want a caretaker MD.
All right, if that's what you really think.
Trust me, David.
Okay, you've got 5 months. You'd better find me a good MD out of this bunch. I'll give you a free hand if you will deliver me a company that will fly.
This is just unfair.
What, page 63?
No, this bit here about staff turnover in sales. I mean, you always get lots of salesmen joining and leaving.
Yeah, but 60% in a year?
Well, that's down to personnel. Look, Jenny, this is your problem, not mine. And look who gets the blame here. This whole report is just a one-sided attack on the sales function. What did you mean, page 63?
Will you keep quiet? I'm only on page 15.
Well, whose fault is that?
So, what is the point of the exercise? Am I the only one to find this distasteful? I mean, here we are, our professional lives dissected and criticised, and for what? So that this John Wood character can swan in as the new MD. I mean, what, frankly, is the point?
Why don't you ask him yourself?
John Wood, you must be Charles Ainsworth. Pleased to meet you.
Mike Fox. Pleased to meet you.
Mike.
Lee Shindo?
Lee. Jenny Carroll, we met already.
Yes, and I don't think you were particularly honest with me the first time.
Honest? Oh, it was never my intention to deceive anyone.
So what's this all about, then? A report that we were led to believe was intended to value the company is, in fact, an exercise in character assassination. Not exactly the basis of what I'd call a trusting relationship.
Mike, if we got off on the wrong foot, I apologize, but I never intended to deceive anyone. Any report that tries to value a business needs to look at the strengths and the weaknesses of the management team.
It would have been nice to know that we were being judged.
Yes. We all feel that it's rather one-sided. Well, that's what you said, wasn't it, Jenny?
Look, I don't want to shirk responsibility here, but who told you the Beechwood report is purely a numbers exercise?
F.E., the old MD. Please don't ask us to believe that as the new MD, you're not just a little bit involved in that deception. In fact, the more I think about the way that this whole matter has been handled, the more angry I get about the whole thing.
Angry?
Yes, angry. Angry at F.E. for lying to us, angry at being taken over by a company that doesn't seem to care about keeping us informed, but most of all, angry that without any sort of consultation, you've been brought in as the new boss. I mean, how do you think that makes Charles feel? He's the most senior member of staff. He expected to get the job.
Now, hang on, Mike.
I mean, with the greatest of respect, we don't know you from Adam. Apart from Jenny here, who seems to have some inside knowledge that she's chosen not to share with the rest of us.
Mike, that's not true.
I seem to be the only one round here prepared to speak their mind. Well, I think that the management of this takeover stinks.
Lee, what do you think?
Frankly, I don't care who runs the company, as long as I can get on with my job.
Charles?
Well, it's all a bit sudden, and I think I need time to consider the criticisms.
Jenny, what do you think?
I think I would be happier if you hadn't lied to me the other day about your role in Softex.
Jenny, I didn't lie. I told you people were my business.
Well, that's very touching. I don't think it makes Charles feel any better about not getting the top job.
Mike.
Who said he couldn't be the new MD?
Who? Charles?
Any one of you could be the new boss.
What do you mean by that?
I think you had better explain.
How's it going?
Slowly but surely. Can the other guys free up some time?
Ken and Matthew said they'd be able to join you this afternoon.
They said they were too busy.
Well, when I explained it was you that needed their help, they were suddenly able to find the time.
I'm touched.
You will be. This is going to cost you, you know.
Of that, I am under no illusions.
I'll get you a coffee.
So let me get this straight. You want us to go on a 20-week course, and then at the end of it, you're going to decide who the next MD will be.
And it could be any one of us.
Correct. I need to know what kind of managers you can become before I decide.
So I could still be the new MD.
Well, it depends how you do on the course.
So what exactly is the course?
Well, 20 Steps is a people management course. It helps you develop as a manager rather than as a specialist. Now, each week we tackle a particular subject, which will help you improve the way that you work with each other, with the staff, with customers.
So whoever gets the job will be running the rest of us.
He or she will be ultimately responsible for delivering the company plan. But none of you are going to do it on your own. It has to be a team effort. 20 Steps involves a lot of work, a lot of learning.
So when does this course start?
So why not right now? First assignment, the art of delegation. You got your case studies right here, and you'll have notes.
Oh, grief. It's like going back to school again. When are we supposed to do any real work?
Mike, I'm out on a limb here. Now, Softex would prefer if I took over the whole company and ran it myself. I happen to believe that one of you guys can do a better job.
The art of delegation? Sounds good to me.
I'll look at it over the weekend.
Why not right now?
I've got a bit of a crisis on.
Can no one else handle that?
There is somebody on the problem, yes.
Well, let him get on with it. You can't run a company completely from a keyboard, Lee.
The Stuart Page architectural practice handles general building work, but also specialises in period restoration, as here at the National Trust Item Moats project in Kent.
At the moment there are about 20 projects running through the office. I cannot be expected to produce all the drawings or all the paperwork on every project. And so I have to make that decision once I've met the client and taken the brief, agree the brief with the client and the terms of our appointment. I can then pass that sideways and rely on the member of staff to produce the work. The important aspect of delegation, I think, is that you give the right person the right work to do. And if you don't do that, you don't get the results you want. Okay, so...
Okay.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
So what have we got?
To see it for the first time. Well, we've had 2 reports now. The first came from Katie Lithgow, who's the advisor for wall painting conservation, has produced a really quite detailed report which deals with the policy. Stan Goodman's got an enormous amount of site experience. I will delegate some projects entirely to Stan, and after the initial discussions with the client, he is responsible for the whole work.
I don't think he finds it easy to delegate. I don't think many architects do. He is usually quite clear these days. Maybe it is that I have a certain understanding with him, that I understand what he's meaning. And sometimes you have to do a little bit of digging around in the background to find out exactly what the requirement is.
Okay. So that's quite satisfactory. Yeah, we'll just check through all the others. Yeah.
I think Stan is being given the level of responsibility that he wants. I think we've got to know one another fairly well over a long working relationship, and I think he understands that he has got much greater freedom to run the projects in the way that he feels is right, both for himself, the contractor, and ourselves as a practice.
But Stuart feels rather different when the person in charge is new to the practice. Debbie Martin has just left college and has been given partial responsibility for restoration of a period cottage in Sussex.
I think it's a little bit more difficult with Debbie because she didn't have a great deal of experience before she joined us, and we have to be quite guarded in what we pass forward.
Sometimes I feel that I'm not given as much responsibility, and I would like to be given more so that I improve my skills and my knowledge. So I'm not quite clear how much responsibility I'm allowed, and I think that was something I felt when I first started my employment with Stuart, and obviously he didn't know how much he could give me, so it was a two-sided thing really. This job wasn't very clear initially, and I sort of took the job over almost by accident. It was probably because other people were too busy in the office to take it on, and as it was a small job, they felt I could cope. And as I coped with more, I was then given more responsibility.
But you did mention there was another problem with tiling, which didn't sound
yes,
too cheerful.
When I was on site last, the instruction that they had for the drawing given to tile around the bath and the new vanity unit they were going to construct, as you can see from the photograph, they've overshot the vanity unit. And I took back the dimensions from this and then compared it with the drawing, and what they've done is made that too small. So that's why the tiling doesn't lie out. It looks a bit uncomfortable.
Well, I'm not at all happy. I think they've done something which doesn't look right. It's not in accordance with your drawing. You're certain that you've checked the drawing?
Yes, definitely.
And you're happy to face up to the contractor, I say, I don't like it.
Yes.
It's worse that I don't like it.
I did make a bit of a fuss on site, but...
I think as tactfully as you can initially, you need to get them to replace that so that it is in accordance with our drawing. If there is a problem, we then need to go into print and make it quite, be very positive about the change. And if they still don't react properly, obviously I will get involved, but I hope that you can deal with it. It's very difficult within a design practice to draw a line clearly in delegation, because you want somebody to grow and produce the work that they are happy with as well as the practice is happy with. But they have to accept that the practice has a certain style and they have to work within that. And although we delegate it, we take it up to a certain point. Thank you, the house is complete. I'm pleased to pass it over to you.
Well, thank you very much indeed for all your help and interest. And Debbie's too.
Thank you. Thanks very much. I hope I've got better at delegating, and I think it's a matter of self-discipline. As you begin to understand that you can't manage everything yourself, and that other people are quite capable of undertaking the tasks, you realise that it's a sensible thing to do.
Now, in my experience, the important thing is to adjust the level of delegation to the abilities of the person with whom you're working. Now, a lot of people have a lot of commitment, they're very enthusiastic, but they lack the experience. So what you do is direct them. You supervise them very closely right from the beginning.
And what if they are experienced but not committed to the task you want them to do?
Well, that's where coaching comes in. Like a sports coach, you have to direct them to a certain extent. But what you're really doing is supporting them, channeling their energies, building up their competence.
So what's the secret?
Well, you know it when it happens. It's when you can set a task to someone and you know that they have the confidence and the experience to make that happen.
But you can't just dump on people.
Well, your job is to match the right task to the right person. And then you have to get them to own the problem.
What if they screw up?
Well, it's all about trust. It's about letting people do it their own way. Take a look at this case study.
Clyde Alder is operations manager at Upton Park Bus Depot in East London.
I like dealing with people. That's the best part of the job. I hate writing reports out. I hate the paperwork that goes with this job. And I like to get out there and meet my drivers. Monday?
No, I'm working.
Tuesday? Are you working next week? Are you working next week? How are you doing?
I was doing all right until you come down.
I see myself as a motivator because the average chap is coming to work and he's doing his job. The average, my task is to make him do that, go that extra mile, and feel pleased doing it. You know, there's some excitement in going that extra mile, not just a job, sign on from A to B, to be really happy doing his job, and that's my task. Because when the alarm goes off at 4 o'clock in the morning, I don't want him to feel, oh, damn it. I want him to be relatively excited, relatively excited about about coming to work. But I find it very important to be able to know your staff, to mix with your staff, to be able to stop on these stairs and say, how are you doing? How's your wife? How's your mother? I usually say to them, I'm just a worker here. People, they could call me what they like. They could call me Clyde, they could call me Governor. I hate people to call me Mr. Alder. Anyway, how's your daughter anyway?
Oh, she's fine now, thanks.
She's fine now, so everything's cleared up?
Everything's great.
And thanks for last night. I heard you did a good job last night. I heard you were blinded last night.
That's all fine in theory, but I've still got a major bug that needs fixing. Otherwise, we won't have a business to delegate.
All right. Well, that's enough for one day. Can we get together again next week? I want to develop this whole issue of coaching people.
I can't wait.
You mean we're going to have to do this each week?
Now, Lee, we don't want to get on the wrong side of teacher, do we? You just do your homework like a good boy. You might even get a gold star.
No, I really, I wouldn't.
Come on then, no time for chat. Show me the error messages.
Relax, Lee. It's all done.
What, you fixed it?
Well, Ken and Matthew helped out. The solution was in the routines you mentioned, plus a few tweaks. Anyhow, we fixed the bug, and the updates are already on their way to the beta sites.
So it's all sorted? You sure? Well, that's great. Of course, I knew you could do it.
Oh, no worries. How was your meeting?
Oh, a complete waste of time. They want to turn us all into managers.
Heaven forbid.